AFTV, what can I say? Not the greatest game in the world. 2-2, load of goals.
Yeah.
But some very, very sloppy moments from Arsenal. Are you worried about that, or do you just look at it and say, listen, it's all about next week?
I think the performance epitomised the fans, if I'm honest. I thought we were flat, bruv. I thought we were awful tonight. The support, you've got to look at yourself sometimes and think, were we really up for that game? Because the players weren't up for it. They were more interested in the PSG game, probably still buzzing about Madrid. I think the fans are probably like that, but their job's to perform on the pitch tonight, you know. And I know the league title is done and the league's over, but the team that he put out there should have been strong enough to comfortably win. And I thought at the time, at the part of the game, we might have. You know, when the third goal went in, it was looking like he might actually give that goal. I think it was the ball actually went out of play, as opposed to it being offside, which is...
how long they took to come to that decision. I mean, oh my God.
This is a figure. I mean, you've got to start bringing in Hawkeye or something for stuff like that. And maybe the goal line technology's extended somehow. I don't know. That's got to come in, because that can't take 4 minutes to see if it's gone out of play. Do you know what I mean? But even if we had scored that, you know, I mean, we would have actually won the game and probably killed the game off. But I don't think the performance was massively there tonight. I thought perhaps Thomas Partey can come off with his head held high. I thought he played quite well tonight.
Definitely.
I thought Kivior, again, I've got to mention, I think he's been very impressive when he's come in, if I'm honest with you. Other than that, I think everyone was a little bit off it tonight. And I'm kind of done defending Martin Odegaard now. I've got to come out with this now and say there's something wrong with his performances. I don't think he's been the right player all season. He got an assist tonight with a Kivior goal, but other than that, I mean, that's now, I think it's five assists and 2 goals, is it? That's poor, Rob. And I appreciated an injury, but that was back in November. Yeah, I'd appreciate he's had a baby, but he ain't breastfeeding all night, is he? Like, let's just be real. He has got a missus and he has probably got a nanny. He's a millionaire, right? So I ain't sitting there getting too much sympathy for him now. I'm struggling to defend him. I've tried when I've gone on shows and I've tried to say, look, this is a guy that's got technical ability. He will come back into the mix. When is he going to? Because even against Real Madrid, I didn't particularly think he was great at Ipswich at the weekend. I thought maybe we saw a little bit more of what he can do, but I'm starting to see, when is the consistency now? Where is the consistent performances from Odegaard that we saw a couple of years back and even parts of last season? So I'm concerned about that, Rob. And to answer your question about does it concern me for the week, it can't. I can't look at performance like that against PSG, bro.
But, you know, another mistake from Saliba, though, who's been brilliant this season. He made a mistake against Real Madrid, and then today, an absolute clanger. What was he doing? I mean, was that, again, a player who just was no concentration in the game?
I put it down to that, but I'm not going to make that as an excuse to say fair enough, because that can't happen in a football game. You know, not when you're 2-1 up. You don't lose possession there. Him and Odegaard in the middle. I don't know what was going on there. Raya gets himself lobbed. Great finish, by the way, from Mateta. And you know what? I feel like we need to give them a little bit of credit tonight, Palace, actually, because they had their eyes, or should have had their eyes, on an FA Cup semi-final.
Which is nearer than our semi-final.
They're now one next week, a week away. So they've actually got only a few days to prepare. They went very strong as well, which I was a little bit surprised with. And I actually think they've got some very good players in their 11 that a lot of the top 4 teams will probably look at, if I'm honest. Mark Guehi is being tipped. I think Maxence Lacroix has been an unbelievable signing for them. I've always been a fan of Tariq Mitchell. Daniel Munoz, I don't think gets enough credit. Adam Wharton looks a baller. I've got to say it. He looks fantastic. We know what Eze can do. He was a brilliant goal against us as well. 2 very good goals tonight.
But again, do you look at Arsenal and say, how have they left Eze, probably one of the most skillful players in the Premier League, on the edge of the box? I saw the previous corner and he was completely left unmarked. And I said to the guy next to me, I go, why are they not picking up Eze? Right? And then on that one, he had time for it to watch it to come down and put it away. I mean, that must be really, I know we're talking about, you know, they've got eyes on other games and stuff like that, but that's schoolboy stuff, isn't it? Do you get worried by that, or do you just say, no, it's just a complete, them switching off because they got their eyes on a bigger prize?
Well, I think it's the latter. I think it's a lapse in concentration. But you do that against PSG, you're going up. Let's just have it right. You can't do that against PSG. The quality of them and what they've got going forward, you can't do that. So for me, it was frustrating. And I look at a couple of performances there that potentially do worry me. But I was surprised he went so strong tonight, Rob, if I'm honest with you. I didn't expect to see Saka coming on. You know, I see him with ice on his foot on Sunday. I was surprised he come on. Why is Ethan not starting? Well, you know, he's not going to be risked on next week, so why didn't he start? Maybe Tierney and Zinchenko could have got a nod tonight and give a couple of more players rest. But look, everyone's come up unscathed. We've got a whole week now to prepare. We have to brush that off. We can't look at that performance. And I think what's really frustrating me is that I know everyone's forgotten about this because of the Champions League, but I'm still hurting that we've not won this league, man.
Well, Liverpool now 1 point away from it.
Exactly.
We could be what? They could win this league by about 20 points the way it's
And
going.
the amount of draws that Arsenal have had, and I think we saw today why we've drawn so many games, because we find it very difficult to break down teams when they put 5 across the back and go pretty deep. We struggle, and we struggled again tonight.
Listen, Mikel Arteta has got to sort that out because look, people told me that he's not a manager, he's an artist. Well, he definitely loves to draw. Let me tell you that, right? That's for sure. He's 13 draws now. That is. That's too many. That's too many, man. We've got to turn those draws into wins, and that's what's killed us. Because people say we've lost. We only actually lost 3 games, right? They've lost 2. When you look at what we've done, I look at it, think 13 draws. A few of those turn into wins. All of a sudden, that 13 gap then becomes sort of 8, then 5. Then all of a sudden, you're back in the title race. We haven't done that enough. You know, we've drew to Everton.
What's the key to that? What's the key to changing that for next season?
I think we've got to find a way to beat teams with low blocks. We've got to find a way, whether that's a new striker coming in and we start to put more kind of crosses into the box instead of flinging it to Trossard's head. Maybe we try something different in terms of the build-up. We've got to find a way, and this is why we're paying money, man. Mikel Arteta's got to work that out. You know, Pep Guardiola has worked that out because Jurgen Klopp had worked that out. You've got to be that elite manager to know how to get us across that line, because for me, there's been too many times where we have gone into these games and we're like, well, they low block. That's not their fault. They're not going to come here and play against Arsenal because we're going to win, right? And teams fair play, they're going to come and have a go. It's not all going to do that, but there are teams like Everton, like Fulham, like Brentford, like Palace that are like, look, we could probably give them a good go, but I'm quite confident we won't lose the game. Might not win it, but we will not lose the game if we sit in a low block and 5 at the back. That is what now Mikel Arteta has to work out. We're going to have a big summer. We can talk about that another time in terms of who's got to come in and who's got to be sold out. But for me, the management has to now go to that level to go, it doesn't matter who's we're playing against. We've got ways to beat teams, and it's not just the same way. We ain't just got plan A. We either make plan A better or we go to a plan B, because we have to. We've got to turn these draws into wins next season, because I want to be going on all 4 fronts, man. And look, Champions League, I'm looking forward to it, Rob. I really am, and I feel like we can get to the final. I'm not going to worry about if we can win it yet or not. Let's get there first. For me, I think the PSG game, we cannot have a performance like that. We've got to concentrate from 0 to 90. The fans will be up for it. The players will be more up for it. And I do feel like, you know, there's a great opportunity there. Well, look, as I say, I want to get past PSG first.
That's what I'm asking you about.
Oh, sorry, that game.
Sorry, I'm not
I thought you meant the Champions League.
No, I'm not going that far ahead.
No. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because I've seen what this Arsenal team can do against Real Madrid. And although I believe PSG is better than Real Madrid, I actually do. I do think that the occasion and the mentality to get across that Real Madrid side, it's the worst team to get in the draw. If you can get through that 2 legs, I think you can beat anybody in this competition. And PSG, as much as I do believe they're brilliant going forward, I think they've got a brilliant trio in midfield. I do think they can be got at. We saw that with Aston Villa. So this team at the moment at Arsenal, I will say this lastly, we're very balanced at the moment in terms of what we can do in each department. But actually when you look at the 2 legs, we actually comfortably went through in comparison to the other teams. Because even though Barcelona looked like they were through in the first leg, they made it pretty tricky in the second with Guirassy getting a hat-trick against them. PSG, we saw that Villa nearly come back, yeah? Inter Milan brushed across the line against Bayern Munich. Arsenal battered Real Madrid 5-1 on aggregate. That gives me a little bit of confidence that we could have the balance to get past PSG.
Okay.